Good afternoon, Deputy Ambassador. Thanks so much for accepting to have this conversation with us, with VNG.
Good afternoon and welcome.
May I ask you what led you to pursue this career path and how you got started?
So I'm currently a Deputy Ambassador to the EU for the UK, and I've been doing this job for about 18 months. But my background is quite mixed, mainly public sector. I started off at the UK Treasury and was there for about 18 years. And then I went to Department for International Development, and then I've come here into diplomacy. So I've had a different route into diplomacy than lots of other people, with a few sort of experiences with NGOs along the way as well.
And have you ever faced any challenges as a woman? Maybe have you ever encountered a glass ceiling? And if so, how did you overcome that?
So I think it's fair to say, as a woman economist, as I started off in these early 2000s, I've definitely been in rooms where I am the only woman or there are very few women. So for example, I used to work on G20 a lot, and I used to count the number of women around the table, and only once out of many, many meetings that I was in were there more than 25% women. So there's definitely been imbalances. But in terms of glass ceilings, I think I've been really lucky in that I've always been able to look up to other women. And so even if there isn't a particular role that has a woman in it, there has been somebody at that level. So at the level that I'm sort of aspiring to get to. So that I think has really helped make me at least think that there is a way of smashing the glass ceilings, even if there might be some glass ceilings there.
If you could say something to the women watching this video today, to the young women or young girls, what would be your suggestion or advice to them, for those especially who want to pursue a career in diplomacy?
First of all, just do it. That's my kind of number one advice. If you're really interested in something and you really want to do it, apply for it, speak to people to help you apply for it. Make sure your application is as good as it can be, and do it. I would say my kind of second bit of advice is never be afraid to ask. Often women don't like to reach out to people to ask for support or ask for a different way of working. But I've always been surprised as to when people give up their time to help me or actually change policies to help me. So an example of that is I work part-time, and I asked, can I work part-time? And I have a really brilliantly supportive line manager who made it happen for me. So ask, and you never know what you can get.
And if we think about like really empowering women, making things happen, what do you think are the policies, the work policies also needed to make this real, make this happen?
One, and perhaps later in the career for lots of the people who are watching this, is around maternity and paternity leave and working part-time, and not just for childcare reasons, but for other reasons. I've been lucky enough to work for the UK Civil Service, where working part-time has been an option and where I got good maternity leave. So I didn't feel like I had to make the trade-off between my work and home life. But I think it's really important that that isn't just about women. And men having the options to have paternity leave means that actually when you're at child kind of age, it isn't a difference between men and women. Men having the option to do that, and also equally important is men taking up the option to do that. I think it's great when I see men job sharing, working part-time, taking paternity leave, because I think that really levels the playing field. The second thing I think is kind of more localized is around recruitment decisions. And very rarely in these types of job do you have one candidate who has done the 100 things that you need to have done. There's always a choice. And I think sometimes recruiters think about who's done that job in the past, and therefore who do they want to do it in the future. And they kind of, imagine this person that's done it, and the next person who kind of looks like them in some way, they think, oh, I can imagine them doing it too. And often you have to try and break with how that job has been done in the past and imagine a new way to do the job. And then that's when you open up opportunities to a broader group of people. So I think in those recruitment decisions, I think they're really important too.
And if I can ask maybe just one last question, who or what inspired you?
So I think what's inspiring, so as a civil servant, the inspiring thing is you try to do something you think will help people. Now, sometimes sending an email doesn't feel like it's going to help people, but ultimately the kind of end goal of what you're trying to do is helping people. So that's on the what. And I've been really lucky to work with some really inspiring people, particularly some sort of senior people that when I was more junior, I thought, oh wow, they really are good at what they do it in a way that I can aspire to be like that. And they're making a difference. So kind of having some of those people in your head, I think is really helpful.
Thank you so much for this very nice conversation, and hope to speak to you soon again.
Great, thank you. And good luck to everybody who is starting out their career.